For over 30 years, the Arts Council of Oklahoma City has produced the Oklahoma City Storytelling Festival. And this year's event is Thursday through Saturday, August 21st through the 23rd at the Oklahoma History Center. And the 2014 featured tellers are Donald Davis, Elizabeth Ellis, Lynn Ford, and Bill Lepp. Ladies and gentlemen, she likes to be called Lynn. Guys, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
I have never been to the Storytelling Festival, and I'm born and raised Oklahoma City. And this says for over 30 years we've had this Storytelling Festival. Bill, I'm going to start with you. What is it? Tell me about the Storytelling Festival.
Well, it's a collection of tellers from all across the country who are going to tell all sorts of different stories. People have this perception that a storytelling event is going to be somebody reading Little Red Riding Hood from a book to a group of kindergartners. That is not the case at all. The majority of the audience is going to be adult. There are some specific children's shows, but the majority of the audiences are going to be adults. And the stories are from just a huge variety. You'll get some traditional tales, some old European tales, probably some African tales, a lot of Appalachian tales, just because, as it happens, all four tellers here this weekend have an Appalachian connection. My stuff is not true at all. It seems true. You walk away believing it, but none of it's true.
Bill, where are you from?
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
So my stories are, Appalachian tall tales is what I do.
Lynn, should we believe anything he just told us?
You can believe that, but also believe he had won the Liars contest.
See, that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
4 times, right? 5. You dominated a lying contest so much that they're like, name the trophy after you, right?
No, it hasn't quite gone that far, but I'm going to put that in. That's a good suggestion.
All right, and what brings you here this year? This is your first year, right?
This is my first year, and I was thrilled to be invited because I'd heard about it. As Bill said, I'm one of the Appalachian crew that's here, but I'm an Afro-Latin.
And what is that?
It's a combination of African American, Appalachian American from Europe, and Native American, and that's my heritage in stories and who I am. And so I'll be adding a little extra flavor to the Appalachian stew.
How does a storyteller get started in storytelling?
For me, it was just what the family did. I'm the 4th generation storyteller that we know of. I'm just the first to get paid for running her mouth, which I think my dad would think would be very funny. And my children actually started me into a storytelling career. I was a preschool teacher and a language arts tutor, and they volunteered me in their elementary school classrooms, and from that came a whole different career for me.
And Bill, how'd you get started?
I got started in the West Virginia Liars contest. I wanted to be a writer since I was probably in the 4th grade. And when I found out trying to be a writer is it's difficult to get people to read what you've written. And as I watched the Liars contest for a few years, I thought, well, I could write something, stand up and tell it, and then people would have to listen unless they could run faster than I could. So, plus the award was $100. And when I was 20, that was half my annual income. So I totally went into arts for the money.
So you're like, hey, I could write something, doesn't have to be true, and there's $100 on the line.
$100.
This could work out well.
Yeah, and then I did it in the contest for about 8 years before I realized that people did it, that there were actually full-time professional storytellers and storytelling festivals all around the country. And once I discovered that, I just thought, man, that beats working. I should pursue that.
I should tell you guys real fast that it's 3 nights this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. We're talking to Lynn Ford and Bill Lepp. You can catch these guys 7 p.m. on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Friday and Saturday night, or at least those are the evening sessions. There are actual slots at $10 for each of those evening sessions. When you guys go home to the holidays and you're there with the family, are you the token storytellers, or is it the opposite? You're like, man, I just wanted to bring the cranberries. I didn't want to have to bring a story as well.
If I try to start a story, there's probably going to be an argument about the way it went because everybody's a storyteller at the table, and nobody can agree on who told it first and the way it's supposed to go, which makes all the kids at the tables laugh. But it's storytelling, and that's the whole point. It builds community and holds a family together even when they're arguing about the story.
What about you with the holidays or any public gathering?
Well, I mean, I'm like Lynn. I'm probably the least, this isn't like Lynn, but I'm probably the least funny person in my family. I'm just the one that is out doing it for a living. And in our family, at the Thanksgiving supper table or whatever, it was always up to the listener to decide what was true. People just said stuff, And if you wanted to believe it, you were welcome to believe it.
So it started with Pass the Gravy and just went from there?
It just went from there. You know, what happened here, what happened there. And nobody argues about it because everybody just accepts that you're telling it the way you want it to be.
Oh, in my family, it's an argument.
Oh, no.
Yeah?
My grandfather would end the argument by saying, well, if it ain't true, it should be. And that would usually settle it.
Who's going to argue with that statement,
yeah.
you know? Do people have a hard time believing you, though?
They pretend to, but I'm such an earnest and forthright young man.
I think you're lying right now.
Oh, dang. Yeah, I get that a lot. But, you know, when I'm on stage, I'm not telling the truth. And I don't hide it. I get up on stage and I say I've won the Liars Contest. What I'm about to tell you isn't true. Don't get too emotionally involved with it. And then, but it amazes me. I get off stage and people are like, so that really happened? I'm like, no.
Did you not listen to what I was saying? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, no. So, but I try and be honest in my non-stage dealings.
Sure.
But it doesn't help.
Lynn, tell me about the storytelling community.
Some of us have been together so many times that it's kind of a family reunion when we see one another at festivals and conferences. But you have a broad range of styles and skills and such a history behind the work of some of the tellers. The so-called Renaissance in storytelling in the United States started back in the 70s and 80s, but people were telling long before that, and now it's something that everybody cherishes. So we have our elders, as any family might, and we have our newbies who are just hitting the stages, and we cheer for everybody. It's a big family.
Very cool, very cool. Be sure to check out Lynn Ford and Bill Lepp this week at the Oklahoma City Storytelling Festival, Thursday through Saturday at the Oklahoma History Center. Guys, great to meet you. Thanks for the conversation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can we plug our books real quick?
Wait a minute, you have a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his book has won awards, and my book has won awards.
Hang on, guys. Tell me about your book, Bill.
Start over.
No, we're still rolling. Here, wait a minute. There it is. Just so happens we have The King of Little Things.
He said, Bill, tell him about your book.
Wait a minute, she's got a magazine too. She's got you double teamed.
I bet that magazine mentions my book.
I bet you it doesn't.
This is my children's book. I published it September of last year. It just won the Penn Stephen Kroll Award for children's book writing. But I'm very proud of it. It's my latest production. Like Lynn, you know, I have several books and a bunch of audio collections. But this is here now. I have it with me this weekend, and I'm going to be telling this story. Obviously, this is a kid's story, but I won't be reading it out of the book. I tell a version of the story.
Gather around, people.
But this is, you know, I'll probably be telling this during the kids' session. And it's just a book about a king who's the king of little things. He's the king of keys, coins, crumbs, condensation, needles, noodles, noddles, beads, baby rattles. And then there's a bigger king who is greedy and wants to take over the world. And of course, the little king stands up to him and proves that it's the little things that matter most.
There's always a big king somewhere.
Always got to be somebody trying to take over the world, yeah.
And Lynn, what you have there?
This is Appalachian Tales, and it's won the Ann Izzard Award and the Storytelling Magazine Award. And it's stories rooted in my family's storytelling traditions, as well as some background information and the joy and some of the pain of being an Appalachian. And I have to say about Bill's book that when he told it the first time that I heard it, I absolutely loved it. And we are going to be doing some book signings. So
very cool. I'm assuming people can pick up these books this week, but then beyond that,
they're available. Mine is available from Parkhurst Brothers as well as on Amazon.com.
Okay.
And Bill?
Mine's Amazon.com, Peachtree Publishers, my website.
Okay.
It's available, yeah.
There you have it. Not only can you catch these guys live, you can read their stories beyond this weekend. Once again, Thursday through Saturday at the Oklahoma History Center. It's the Oklahoma City Storytelling Festival. I told you guys this once already, but thank you for coming in and the conversation.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.